Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Joe. Welcome to SNES's Life Recap number 84. Real quickly, today we're going to be covering Tetris 2, The Jungle Book, M.r Nutz, The Incredible Hulk, and Fun and Games. Let's get started. First off, Tetris 2 is nothing. It's like Tetris only in the name. The graphics and art style are kind of whimsical. I enjoyed them. My wife didn't care for them. The music was okay, but nowhere near as banging as the original soundtrack. And Tetris 2 felt a lot more like Dr. Mario with weird shaped blocks instead of pills. Because it wasn't like, some of the Tetris shapes were there, but then it had these weird ones with like gaps in the middle of them and stuff. It was okay, but given that Tetris exists, I don't see any reason to ever play Tetris 2. It wasn't as fun as Tetris. It wasn't as good as a number of other puzzle games that I've played and enjoyed over the years. So, giving Tetris 2 a thumbs down. It wasn't great, and they could have done better. I'm disappointed, frankly. Next up, The Jungle Book. This is your standard movie-based platform cash-in nonsense. The game, the look and the animation and the music were all very good. The gameplay was pretty rough. So there's a lot of blind jumps, a lot of gotchas. You have a momentum, you're very slippy when you move. It just never felt good to control, and the levels get achingly long later in there, like overly so. And it's not the first time that I've played a game like that, and it won't be the last time. Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame. Disney games are always hit and miss, and I feel like obviously the best ones were the ones Capcom did for them back on the NES. Sega Genesis had some good 16-bit games in the Mickey Mouse series, and there's a couple, I think, on the Super Nintendo too that were pretty decent. But the Jungle Book, much like Cinderella, that I think, and Beauty and the Beast, which I think we've played already for the channel, not great at all. Thumbs down. Next up, M.r Nutz. This is, I thought maybe when I started this game that it would be like a precursor to Conker's Bad Fur Day, and it is not. It's not made by the same people at all. But the sprite work is nice. The colors and animations are very good. The music was pretty decent. The gameplay, the control had some issues. This is another one where the jump never felt quite right. But it played well enough and was entertaining enough that I did give it a thumbs up. It was at least enjoyable for the hour I spent with it. The levels get a bit maze-like. Essentially they are just get to the end. You're moving up, down, left, right as you get further into the game instead of just left to right. And it's not terrible. It felt very much like your bog standard platformer. I've certainly played worse. It's better than Bubsy, but nowhere near as good as like Mario. So it was an okay game. I think M.r Nutz, if you run across it in the wild, or if you wanted to own it, it wouldn't have much in the way to argue with you. Next up, The Incredible Hulk. This game, what to say? So it's kind of like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, right? You're running around as the Incredible Hulk, just mashing dudes. The music was okay. The graphics were decent enough. The sprite work was decent. The color was good. The parallax, the scrolling in the background was good. The animations on the enemies, and even on the Hulk himself a number of times, felt kind of stiff, like they were missing a few frames that they could have added in there to make it a little smoother looking. The big issue with the Incredible Hulk to me was, you're the Incredible Hulk. You take damage way too easily in the game, and you die way too fast. And I know that it's a video game, obviously, and if you were immortal, it wouldn't be any fun. But the Incredible Hulk is all but immortal, You can't shoot him. It doesn't hurt him. And it just, with the amount of damage you take and just garbage, it was not going to be an enjoyable game. I would thumbs down it all day long. Also, the enemies, there's like 2 or 3 enemy sprites per level, and then repeat. So very little in the way of change up there. But I played it also with a cheat code that gave you basically not invulnerability, but you could just refill your health by pressing the R button. Or you could drain your health by pressing L so that you turn into Dr. Banner. And Dr. Banner could crawl through little pipes to find secret areas, whereas the Hulk could not. And with the cheat code, the game is super fun because you are the Incredible Hulk running around just mashing things the way it should be. And you get like the super clap that like knocks dudes over. You can basically charge into them. So it's a thumbs down for the game if you're going to play it the way it was intended. But a thumbs up if you're going to cheat, because the cheat code made it actually really, really enjoyable. And so I just have to put that in there. You know, I'm always going to try cheats when I can find them just for funs. And this one was one that, with a cheat, was actually pretty decent. Final game up, Fun and Games. This is god-awful. So this is a 1994 game that is essentially a Mario Paint clone, except it is nowhere near as full-featured or as well put together as Mario Paint, which was made in 1992. And it boggles my mind how 2-3 years later you're seeing games that are copying games worse. You know, I mean, it's been 2 or 3 years. You should be better at this stage, and some companies just couldn't get it. This does have most of the features that Mario Paint had. It's got like a music composer and a coloring book and a drawing application. And it's got a couple mini games actually. One is just you running through a maze that gets progressively, the enemies in it get progressively faster. There's only like 3 different mazes. And then one is kind of like a laser game where you're flying in a cockpit shooting things. And those were the only redeeming feature of this game, because Mario Paint did absolutely everything else better. The music, what music there was. Now, I remember Mario Paint only had like 2-3 music tracks, I think. If that, really. This one had a couple, but it was like a 10-second clip that looped on repeat and got really annoying really fast. So my high recommendation is do not play this game. Do not seek this game out. It's worth money because it clearly didn't sell well and it's rare now in this day and age. But I feel like they should probably all just be burned because it was really, really bad and not worth playing at all. So out of those games, the only thing that gets some thumbs up is M.r Nutz. A decent platformer. And then the Incredible Hulk, if you want to cheat, is actually super fun to play. So I can recommend that one at least. But that's it for Recap 84. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through all the years. Got some fun stuff coming up later this year. So thank you. See you guys later. Peace out, y'all.